A new survey by the Wounded Warrior Project finds that more post-9/11 veterans are using the GI Bill, receiving disability benefits, are homeowners and have jobs. But the same poll noted another rising trend that may affect these veterans' overall future well-being. More than half are rated as obese. Warriors are not as healthy as we would like, said Dr. Melanie Musso, Wounded Warrior Project, WWP, Director of Metrics, of the finding that 51.7% of the more than 33,000 survey respondents were obese, according to their body mass index, or BMI, and of that total, 6.2% were rated as morbidly obese. Previous WWP surveys showed that 50.9% were rated obese in 2017 and 48.6% in 2016. The 2018 survey shows that 43.8% of female veterans had BMIs in the obesity range compared with 53.2% of males. In addition, just 12.8% of the respondents in 2018 had BMI measures in the healthy weight or underweight range, according to the survey. Unfortunately, weight issues continue to be a major challenge for warriors and the trend is not improving, the survey noted. The survey of more than 33,000 veterans registered with WWP helps guide the organization in our internal decisions on where we put our money, said retired Army Lieutenant General Michael Lennington, Chief Executive Officer of WWP. It also is intended to inform and prepare our troops and their families for future conflict while improving the support we provide when they return home, he added. Throughout the survey and in the comments of veterans who participated, the importance of focusing on the transition from military to civilian life was stressed as the key factor in rehabilitation. But the standout statistics were the ones on weight. According to the National Center for Health Statistics at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the prevalence of obesity among U.S. adults overall was 39.8% from 2015 to 2016. The prevalence among adults aged 40 to 59, 42.8%, was higher than among adults aged 20 to 39, 35.7%. In a panel discussion Tuesday on the survey sponsored by the Brookings Institution, Musso and others noted that the survey respondents included wounded and injured veterans, and those suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and sleep disorders, that can limit their ability to exercise or adopt healthy eating habits. About 2/3 of the respondents reported they are limited in even moderate activities, such as moving a table, pushing a vacuum cleaner or going bowling, the survey said. More than 7 in 10 reported that pain limited them to some degree in their work inside and outside the home. Musso added that lingering effects of stress from combat experiences and the transition to civilian life could also affect the ability and willingness of veterans to engage in physical activity. I think with any type of uncertainty and/or change, there is a heightened sense of stress, Musso said. With stress comes a myriad of other challenges. Wounds that won't go away. One of the key findings of the survey was on the long-term psychological effects of combat, the so-called invisible wounds of war that can be as disabling as physical wounds. According to the survey, 2/3 to 3/4 of warriors have had a military experience that was so frightening, horrible, or upsetting that in the past month they have not been able to escape from the memories or effects of it. More than 77% of participants reported feeling the need to be constantly on guard or watchful, and they were easily startled. Roughly 75% said they felt numb or detached from others, activities, or surroundings, the survey said. Nearly 66% reported having nightmares about their experiences. The comments veterans attached to their survey responses reflected their inner struggles. I feel like no one really understands anything about me anymore. I want to be involved but it feels like people are afraid of me, said one. Learning how to adapt is the most challenging, how to be social, just so friends and family don't jump to conclusions that something is wrong, learning how to keep your mind so busy that there is no opportunity for intrusive things. There is no alleviating this challenge, another wrote. The comments also reflected the stigma, real or imagined, that many veterans feel is attached to military-related mental health conditions, even among veterans. It seems people assume that having PTSD makes you a psychopath that wants to harm people. In reality, I just want to be left alone, one veteran said. Another spoke to his discomfort at being in a group with combat veterans, when his experiences were not related to actual combat. It's hard for a member of the Coast Guard to sit in at a PTSD group of combat veterans when your experiences were non-combat related but involve such events as decapitated children, boating accident deaths, suicides of fellow service members and the stress of being overworked for years, the veteran said. Most just can't understand where you've been. The survey showed a slight decrease in the percentage of respondents who said they had difficulty getting mental health care, put off getting such care, or did not get the care they needed, 33% in 2018, compared with 35% in 2014. About 19% did not seek treatment because they would be considered weak, compared with 25% in 2014, the survey said, and 18% felt they would be stigmatized by peers or family for seeking mental health treatment, compared with 23% in 2014. About 78% of respondents said they experienced PTSD during their military service and were still dealing with the effects, compared to 75% in WWP's 2014 survey. 9 years of surveys provide a huge database. WWP began doing the surveys in 2010, and the 2018 version, done with Westat, an employee-owned research services firm, provided the nation's largest and most comprehensive survey of wounded, injured and ill veterans who have served post-9/11, Musso said. The demographics shows that 83.5% of respondents were male, with a mean age of about 40. About two-thirds were married, 66.5%, and more than half were from the South, 53.1%. The vast majority were enlisted, 91.7%, and nearly half, 45.3%, had deployed 3 or times during their military service. Almost all, 93.4%, had deployed at least once to a combat zone. The 4 most common injuries or health problems reported by the respondents were PTSD, 78.2%, sleep problems, 75.4%, back, neck and shoulder problems, 73.7%, and depression, 70.3%. For post-9/11 veterans, classified as Gulf War Era II veterans by the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, the unemployment rate was 3.1% in October, compared with 3.9% September, according to BLS. But the WWP survey shows that respondents had an unemployment rate of 11%, lower than the 14% determined by the 2014 survey but still higher than the federal statistics. The survey indicated that homeownership rates among the respondents was on the rise. The survey shows that 59.6% of respondents owned homes in 2018, compared with 56.4% in 2017 and 52.9% in 2016. The main reasons given by the respondents for not being in the labor force were mental health problems, 37.4%, physical injury, 24.3%, retirement, 15.6%, and enrollment in school or training program, 13.8%. The survey also shows that more veterans were using the VA for primary and mental health care, and more were taking advantage of the GI Bill for education. About 36% had attained a bachelor's degree or higher in 2018, compared with 25% in 2014, the survey showed. The survey showed about 75% of WWP veterans had VA health insurance in 2018, compared with 59% in 2014. More also were using the VA for their mental health concerns, 71% in 2018, compared with 63% in 2014. About 90% of the respondents reported receiving VA disability benefits in 2018, compared with 72% in 2014, and 62% had disability ratings of 80% or higher. The main reasons given for not using the VA as the primary health care provider were difficulty of accessing, 45.2%, problems with the bureaucracy, 43.0%, and bad prior experiences, 44.5%. The survey concluded that there were more similarities than differences in the surveys conducted in the past 3 years, but all reflected continued challenges with physical and mental health problems and modest economic improvements in an aging veterans population. The transition to civilian life continues to remain challenging for many, the survey said, and those challenges extend to their family members and other caregivers.